Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Two Pals Podcast. My main man D Rise ain't here, but I got my dog LD with me, and we finna have a discussion on depression today. So y'all tune in and enjoy the show. What's up, LD?
Hey, what's happening? I appreciate you for having me, dog. Get excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get excited. Get excited.
Hey.
So, yeah, yesterday, like I was saying, I had a phone conversation with a cousin of mine who he lost someone that was real close to him to PSTD. You know what I'm saying? PTSD. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. And he ultimately, you know what I'm saying, took himself out.
Mm-hmm.
And during that phone conversation, um, my cousin was battling. His battle was with trying to figure out, did he miss any signs, or is there something more he could have said or done. Also, we just lost a kid, 25 years old, the rap out of Jacksonville, Lil Papa, just took his life. You know what I'm saying? And his I listened to a lot of Lil Papa music, and he always was in his music. It was very depressing. You know what I'm saying? He was always talking about things he was dealing with, going through, and how um being able to function with this and hide it from the world, or you know what I'm saying. Then he was battling with sickle cell anemia, so he he needs pain pills, but now they have become an addict. Become an addict. It has created an addiction in his life. So you have a need for something in order for you not to be in pain and hurting or whatever you're going through, but you also trying to break an addiction from the same thing that you need. So that was my question for you. With depression, let's start there. Um, what is depression to you?
So when you try to define it, you really don't have a precise answer, right? Because everybody is so different in the genetic makeup, right? As
Okay,
far as the chemical makeup, the unbalances, the DNA, and then also what trauma have you experienced that you haven't dealt with that's still lingering in the back screen of your life, right? So
okay,
there's we don't really have a clear diagnosis of what true. Some people say clinical depression, or then they might say just depression, but depression, I think, and that's why we need other wisdom, to now comment, like, and subscribe to this video, and also help us, become more educated. But I think depression. Uh, I don't think it arrives from the inside.
mm,
I think depression is a derivative from events that have taken place in our lives that we've now allowed to enter into our inner
right,
house. But when they've entered, we allow them to run amok. So
oh,
now they're like little kids. The things that have happened to us are like little kids living within us, running around, acting an ass with no discipline.
mm,
And I think they've taken over. And now I think that's when now you start to experience the onslaught of depression. I think depression is when you allow all these things in. And yes, things do happen to us, and they will happen
right,
to us, whether it's traumatic, whether it's not as traumatic, it's up to the beholder. But when these things happen, they enter into us, and now they become a piece of real estate within us. And as we
mm,
allow them to take up more real estate, now we start to enter into, now I feel first. And then remember, depression is when is weight. You press. So
yeah,
we're allowing this to enter and press on us. And now we
oh,
call it
okay,
depression. Well, okay.
mm,
Well, what's the opposite of depression, right? Well, the opposite of depression is um, you have to unpress it. Well, how do I unpress it, right? Well, we know that living a simple life with lightness is a way to freedom. So
okay,
how do I get so that was I born depressed, right?
Right.
or did I get depressed in the latter years of my life, and then now how and then why?
Okay. So, do you think that because this is a question we had last night on my live, i- is it possible that that comes from a genetic makeup?
It can come. Okay, so me personally, and I challenge everybody to challenge me or fight me, one or the other, right? But I don't think it comes from your genetic makeup. I think everybody that's born is a free will agent, right?
Okay.
Put here on planet Earth to do their time, live their life, or however you want to call it, right? I think
Okay.
I think it's the I think it's the things that happen to us that causes depression.
Okay.
Because the thing,
And those things that happen, you will, like you just were saying, you allow that to take up real estate in your life.
even
So,
consciously or subconsciously, right?
right. So, what I'm getting from that is that being depressed is a choice, in a sense. You have to choose to allow this to run amok in your life or take up real estate or whatever. But a choice has to be made. And with that choice or that decision that you make to allow these things to now press down on you and put you in this dark space or wherever, then you got to figure out what triggered that or why did you allow that to happen. And now you have to get that up off you. So even after that choice is made, another choice has to be made to not be depressed. I mean, and I think from a personal experience dealing with depression, right? A lot of times you don't know that you are depressed until you're coming out of it,
Or until you know thyself.
until you know who you are. And a lot of people don't even know who they are.
There, right there. That'll preach right there.
A lot of people don't know who they are, and yeah, they can tell you, "Oh, I know me," but do you really know you? Because if you did, then you'll know how to conduct yourself in order to and take preventive measures not to allow certain things to happen to you. So psychologically, you need to tap in to your source, your inner source, because you said something that really stood out to me is that depression don't come from inward. So if it doesn't come from inside the in, it has to come from out and work its way in. So you got to put up barriers and all that to keep that out of you. And that's by living a simple life or not taking on everyone else's problems or whatever you need to do to make you happy. So stop trying to appease those around you and make other people happy, and then you faking it as if you are happy when you're really not. So you have to do a lot of that. The self work has to be a daily continuation.
There you
You have
go.
to work on yourself daily.
There you go. Right there. Right
Every
there.
day you need to be working on yourself to not get to a point where you feel like I just can't do this anymore. Because I've never had those type of thoughts where I say, you know what, fuck it, I'm ready to check out. I don't want to be here no more. I can't do this no more. But I've also always had people around me that pick up on things if I'm dealing with some, and I may not want to talk about it right then, but they'll pry a little bit, and that allows me to release things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and we've talked about that before about having those accountability partners. you have to be able to go to somebody at some point and get that shit up off you. You know what I'm saying? And whether that's going to a therapist, a psychologist, a friend, a family, whatever. But you need to purge. You need to release this shit because if you don't, it's gonna consume you. And we all know when things begin to consume you, that means that takes control of you. And I'm a firm believer in that everything starts on the real battlefield, which is the mind. So you start to think negative about yourself. So you begin to tell yourself, I'm just a fuck up. No, you made a mistake. And you don't want to take the time out to correct that or fix that or make it right. So you play the blame game. And then you go saying, I just can't do this. That word can't begins to preside over who you are. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that ultimately puts you in a space where you begin to believe that you're worthless, that you're nothing, and you just can't.
There you go.
I can't live. I can't make it because you have, like you said, you have allowed this to come into you. It was because at birth you're not born with depression. No, no, that it hasn't been clinically proven that anybody was born with depression.
They could be schizophrenic, right? They could be born
Okay.
with some mental issues that causes that schizophrenic. They could be born autistic. They could be born slow as what we call it back in the day, with some
Mm-hmm.
mental retardation. But when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to depression, and you can go down the line with anxiety and body dysmorphia and these things. I think when you came out the womb and you was growing up, you would find your kids running around the house. They ain't got a worry in the world. They fall
Right.
down, they get back up, they cry, they get back up, and they just. But it's not only until you're introduced um into certain environments that can now
Mm-hmm.
cause some type of. Nobody's depressed because they're too happy.
Right. Right.
See, no, are too joyful or when things are going right, winning. Nobody's depressed. Now it's in those moments of training, that moment of stoicism when things are not working for you or going against you, or adversity comes, obstacles hit hard and they knock you down.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's when now you allow what this word that they define as depression to now enter in. And every
Mm.
moment you sit there after the setback, adversity, or the loss, you allow that depression to build like a hurricane. Because the hurricane way out there in the water, and we see it coming. You can prepare for the hurricane, but some people don't. They decide not to prepare for the hurricane, and they say, "Nah, it's gonna veer off." But that mud don't
Yeah.
veer off, and it keeps coming and it keeps coming. But you had time to prepare yourself for this hurricane, but you didn't. Now the
Right.
hurricane hit, tore up everything, right?
Okay.
Now at that moment, now before the hurricane, you was fine. But now after the hurricane, if it would have went right, you'd have been straight. But now it came straight, tore up all your stuff, right? Your things
Okay.
that you perceive as sentimental values, things, heirlooms, things you had held on to, kid pictures, tear it up. Now it's gone. Now you hear somebody say, I don't know what we're going to do. And then they don't have an answer. They don't know. They're in uncertainty now. So
Mm-hmm.
now they've just opened the gateway to depression, because it's depression.
Right.
It's not compression.
Right.
It's compression holds it together.
Right.
Depression now enters in and then divides and conquers.
Weighs down. Mm.
So now you've allowed it to come in because of the event. The event was so traumatic to where you said, This event is so traumatic. I think I'm gonna just sit here for a minute in it. Versus saying, you know what? And this is why um, people said, "I shall over what,"
Overcome.
and they kept saying it, and they kept saying it, and they kept saying it to now put it in their subconscious to make them believe, no matter what happens, what comes or what goes, in spite
Right.
of, I have to be straight. But it starts here, and I think that's where depression attacks. Right, the event,
Mm.
it's the event, how you receive the event, and then depending on how you receive the event, it's going to cause a shift, it's going to cause a breakdown, or it's going to cause you to get stronger. Some people allow
Okay.
it to break them down, but they never build back up, and they stay.
Wow. 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 And we was just talking about that being stuck. The cause and effect. So you got this event that has caused this here in your life, and that's when a choice has to ultimately be made. If you don't move and you stay there and waddle in that, that's where you're gonna remain at. Because now that becomes your norm. Now you begin to tell yourself it is what it is, or I'm supposed to be going through this
Come
here,
on.
or all kind of they got all kind of sayings that they done fed you over the years that will keep you right there where you at.
Come on.
So, um, my second question is: are there signs that stand out that to help people recognize when someone around them is dealing with depression?
I think there's a couple of signs. They they're never they're all they're when you go over to their house, the blinds always closed. Blinds always closed. It's dark in there. You look into their refrigerator, they got nothing but food that make them feel good. Nothing healthy. That's another sign. A person whose space is filthy, cluttered, hoarding. So clutter, that's another one. And then you hoard, right? You don't throw away nothing. You just keep everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are some of just the signs, and then how they communicate, right? It's always when they get a chance to talk, it's always something that's depressing, negative.
Right,
They need something happening to them, that's negative. So I think those are
right.
some of the signs to where when this is around you, you start to understand, oh, this person might be allowing themselves to lose the game. They
Mm.
don't check that. They never talk prosperity. They never speak abundance. They always speak down on themselves, right? And you hear this from a distance, and you say, "Okay, I see where we at. I see where we at."
Right,
And then
right.
now you come back and say, "Hey, man, come here. Let me holler at you real quick, dog. Um, God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to be alive today. And all things are working together for our good. And nothing outside will defeat anything that's within, because you said, He that is in me is greater than he that is in the world. And I will conquer, I will win. The battle is already won. And I will continue to walk how I need to walk, how I was positioned to walk, how I was made to walk to make God happy. A lot of us, we get into our ways and we start living in a selfish way, like the world teaches. Mine,
Mm.
mine, mine. I. Me. When you start getting into those conversations about me, my, I, you're already lost. Because when one of those things are affected in your life, your I is affected, your me is affected, um, you get wounded. You get wounded. And when you get wounded, we know a wounded person sometimes is a dangerous person.
Very to their self, to their self, to their self. And even with that, Larry, if you, because I know, you know what I'm saying, through our conversations, you do a lot of reading and you try to understand the mindset of people, right? Whether they're dealing with addiction or whatever they may be going through. And if you had to have a one-on-one talk with someone that was depressed, the first thing you just did is you prayed for them, right? Now, after you pray for this individual, what's next?
Well, so it's developing or establishing some type of common ground, right? Because I'm
Okay,
not God over you and I'm not Lord over you, and I don't have what you have. I'm looking from the outside in, so I'm not really experiencing or feeling what you feel, right? But the
right?
one thing I do know is I need to establish common ground with you to kind of understand what you're feeling or what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and why. Your why. Why are you allowing yourself to stay here? Why are you allowing yourself to take up residency here? What happened to you to make you think you have to stay here and pay rent here? What
Mm,
make you think that what has shackled you or chained you to this event to make you believe that you can't leave or walk out the door when God created a free will agent? So
okay,
those are the things that now you have to ask some questions, right? But in order to get to that level, you have to now
right. Okay,
things happen. So I can't just ask you about what's happening now. I got to go way back to understand, and that's why therapists they have you come in and they have sessions. It's
okay.
like if we work out together right now, you would die.
I couldn't even hold a straight face.
I can't start you out where I'm at right now. I got to go back
Right.
and I got to start now. We got to start simple and then we got to get some type of common ground. So now
Mm-hmm.
when you talking to me, you don't leave anything out. You could tell me the good stuff that has happened and I got to listen. And you could tell me the traumatic stuff, the bad stuff that has happened to you up until this point. And that's why they schedule these sessions because they're trying to get somewhere with you. They're trying to really understand the 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 psychological aptitude of the individual, right? And how they think and how they process, right? Because how you
Okay.
process what has happened to you matters. So and that's why they
Yeah.
have these sessions lined out to now get to a place. Where's the place? Where the place that's keeping you now in your now life stuck or bound. Because sometimes people feel like they can't get loose, but they free, but they still feel like they can't get loose. Feel. So some people say, "Fuck your
Mhm.
feel." Well, in certain instances, you could say, "I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like eating healthy, but I got to."
Right.
In some
Right.
instances, though, you got to say, "Well, you have to listen to your feelings
Because they are valid.
because they are valid, right?" So there's
Right.
this turning on and off and know how in between the toggle. You toggling in between, right? I don't feel like going
Okay.
to the gym, but I must go. I got to override that feeling. But this feeling of not being enough, I can't override that feeling.
Okay.
I got to sit there and understand why I feel like I'm not more than enough. Because if I don't sit there and figure it out or heal from that before the next one happens, next trauma happens, now it's just like people who throw stuff in the closet and before long that closet full of shit.
Exactly.
That's depression.
So the key to overcoming depression is understanding why you're even depressed.
Slowing down.
slowing
Yeah.
down.
And
Actually,
addressing.
sometimes you may even have to come to a complete stop and reevaluate everything that's going on in your life and understand why I'm where I'm at. And I think that's very instrumental in the psychological development of overcoming being depressed. Because now I know why I'm like this. I know what made me like this, and I know what's gonna trigger me to getting back here where I don't want to be. So I'm able to develop a shield around my mind that's not gonna allow me to succumb to those triggers that ultimately lead me to being depressed.
Do I have these
Because
feelings? Do I have these feelings? Yes.
right,
Do I have these moments where I feel weak and desperate? Yes. Do I feel weak at times? Yes. But now, once that happens, now, or do you run from that? Or do you say, okay, we still gonna pull up to the table this morning and we still gonna sit quietly with ourselves? We might
mm-hmm,
cry today. We might not feel like doing a lot of stuff today because how we feel right now because of uh, a traumatic experience that has happened to us back in the past, right? But we still pull up at
right,
the table. We still go grab that pen and we still write it all down. We still, and that's why I always say building a great routine or habits in the morning, throughout the day, throughout the night, because you have morning people, you have people who catch their flow in midday, and then you have people who are night
mm-hmm,
people, right? So whichever
mm-hmm,
part of the day you feel most powerful in, that's the day. That's the part of the day that you study in. That's the part of the day that you practice solitude because that's the day. That's the part of the day that's gonna give you strength and build habits to ride now into the next day and into the next day. And as you build, now you're building your inner citadel. Now, once you continue to build your inner citadel, yes, these things might knock at your door and say, "Hey, remember me?" And yes, you do remember. You're human. You even remember the feeling that was attached to that thing. But now you can say, "Nah, bro, you can't come in. You can't come in today."
right.
What happens is people allow these things to keep to remember how your mama used to say, "Don't be running in and out of my house." If you're gonna be outside, you're gonna be outside. If you're gonna be inside, don't be running in and out of my house tracking.
Yeah, don't track up my flow.
So that's what's happening with people, right? They're allowing these traumatic experiences to now have their way, to come in and out, run in and out, and track all over inside of their life. And now you have people who
Mm.
are up, down, up, down. You can say, "Yeah, LD was just cool the other day, and now he tripping. What going on?" Well, it ain't nothing that you did. It's what they allow to happen in the back screen. And that's why I always tell people, man, you could dress a pig up. That don't make a pig not a pig. Quit concentrating on dressing up and playing out here in this world and focus more on stripping down, decluttering, cleaning up, and understanding who the fuck you are right now and understanding that things have happened and then but things are going to happen, but what is happening right now? A lot of people living their life in the past. A lot of people living their life in expectation of the future. But who's living their life in the
Mm.
present? Because the present, you learn from the past and you, for the future, you dream for the future, but you live
In the now.
and you plan for the future, but you live in the now. And that's when you're most powerful. And that's the place where you have to now continue to do what? Align what we've talked about and what you've talked about. Align yourself with thyself.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to church all you
And
want.
that's right.
You could practice. But if you don't practice,
You're wasting time. And we talked about that last night, right? About having that spiritual alignment. Because when your spirit is in alignment and where it's supposed to be, right? Then a lot of these outside attacks can't penetrate you. When you got your spiritual high beams on, you see the train coming down the track, like you just said with the hurricane. But you don't sit and say, "Oh, that thing gonna go around me." Even if it does decide to go around
Come
you,
on.
you make preparations to push it around you,
Come on.
or get out the way of it.
Get out the way.
And a lot of times, that's what has happened with people that's dealing with things like depression, is that they're in their own way. When you begin to trick yourself and telling yourself different things because you don't know who you are, you trying to still figure things out in your life, but you won't slow it down or stop and take hold of who you are. People don't be understanding that a lot of times they're being controlled by outside source. And in 2026, that outside source just so happens to be social media.
Come on. Come on.
A lot of people, they're not going to admit to it, but social media got a stronghold on the masses. Because if I can keep you here watching my life and strolling, you're going to develop something in your mind is going to develop that, well, if they got that, I can have that. Well, that's not for you.
Come on.
You don't know what they went through to get there. You don't know what they're going through right now while having that. But you just see what they putting out there. Stop focusing on them and work on self. And when you spend your time working on self,
Hmm.
you put up the preventive measures to not allow things to enter into your world or your life and ultimately take control of it. I ain't worried about what my neighbor doing across the street. Neighbor doing whatever neighbor need to do for neighbor. The minute I start worrying about what I need to
Come
be
on.
doing on this side of the road and start worrying about what neighbor got going on, I just lost.
You just lost.
I lost. I lost time. I done lost myself. I done got caught up in the whirlwind now because my focus gonna go if neighbor ain't out there. I can't worry about neighbor. But let me look next door to neighbor, see what they got going on.
Mhm.
But so I created a deflection not to deal with me.
Come on.
And I think that's what ultimately leads to depression as well, is when you begin to deflect instead of dealing with I people that I've talked to that deal with depression. Whenever they're there, they focus more on the problem. But when they become solution driven,
Come on.
they find themselves not being depressed anymore because their focus is how to get to the next step where I need to be at in my life. So when a problem occurs, I analyze the problem, I evaluate the problem, but I'm creating a solution for this problem because I can't allow this problem to sit too long in my life because then I'm gonna succumb to just this problem. And now I haven't even dealt with this problem, but here's another one. And here's another one. So now I got all these problems and they begin to weigh down on me. Now I'm becoming depressed. Now I'm depressed. Now I'm walking like this here. Now my conversations is always negative. Man, fuck this thing. I ain't I ain't got nothing. I'm not thinking positive because ain't nothing positive happening in my life. Well, ain't nothing positive happening in your life because you ain't creating nothing positive to happen in your life because you too stuck on a negative issue or a negative problem. So you have to become solution driven. So when a problem occurs, don't worry about things that you can't deal with. If you can't deal with that, why are you worried about that? If it ain't gonna kill you, let that problem be that problem. Give the problem to the problem. Don't make it yours. You don't have to make it yours. And a lot of times we'll take on other people's problems because we are emotionally attached to them. So they feel like this here, and in your mind, you're like, how you feel like that? I can't see how you feel like that. So I take on your problem just to see how that feels.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Mhm.
but that's what happens. All in the name of Boy, I love you, dog. Well, you my dog, boy. Why I hate you going through that stuff. Yeah, I do hate. I hate to see you going through that. But what are you doing about that?
There you go.
What are you doing about that? Because in life, I've learned that sometimes people that's dealing with that and that's stuck there, they want to be there. That you have people that want to be right there where they're at. So you can't take on. You ain't built to take on all that. That ain't for you. But you put yourself in these situations or around these people, and this is all they got going on, and that becomes who you are. You become a part of that. Nah, separate yourself from the flock. You got to
Come on.
separate yourself from the flock because if I say I rock with you, if just when you get to doing shit that's not normal that I know of you, I'm gonna question it. Like, what you got going on? And if you say, "Oh no, this is what I got going on," I got to believe it. Once you show me that, I got to believe it. But I got to make a conscious decision. Well, I got to allow him to do whatever he need to do for himself. I need to get over here. Let me get out his way because I'm in his way right now. Because he done showed me something that I wasn't expecting, didn't suspect of him, but he just did that. So I got to believe it. Let me move. And when the time presents itself, maybe a conversation may be had about that. Maybe it's not. Maybe the connection may never be as strong as it was the first time. And I have to be fine with that
Got
because I I understand that I got more work to do on me.
it. And that's the key right there. You just said it right there. Out of every, I'm glad you stopped right there because that's the ultimate truth right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got work that I need to do on me. You're
Mm-hmm.
your own separate entity. And I love that. I love how you ended that right there because I love you. And out of all that you're going through, I really love you. I wish I could be like totally there for you, but I can't lose myself in the process.
Okay. 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 And I honestly, it was like we both had like experiences with other individuals that has came in and out of our lives that we've seen this, right? And when they show you when they show you something, you be like, nah, that can't be my dog. Well, your dog showed it to you. But our emotional attachments want to hold on. Right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And you want to walk this walk with your dog, but that's his personal journey. That's his personal walk.
It's just
And
personal.
when things become personal, you have to understand what personal is. That's for that person. Get the fuck out their way. Because whatever they going through, you can't go through that with them and expect for them to get through that. What'll happen is they'll step back and let you go through, and now you're going through their shit. Now put your shit to the back burner. They done fell back and watching you self-destruct on some shit you ain't had. That wasn't even your business in the beginning.
Nobody will care more for you than you can care for yourself.
Okay.
And I think it's a setup. Some people might call it being cruel, being mean when you say, respectfully, I gotta let you go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has a responsibility for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what we lack in this society is holding people accountable.
Mm.
We want to tell them all the good stuff. We want to say, man, you can get through this, man. You ain't gonna get through this if you keep allowing this to happen. That's what needs to be said. Hey, man, I'm gonna have to quit
Mm.
fucking with you if you keep fucking with that, I can't fuck with you no more. Okay, straight up. So a lot of the times society wants to make us sugarcoat everything. and
Right.
you have more depressed kids because my wife is a nurse. You have more depressed kids than I have ever known because kids they're not able to hear the real. You people find themselves wording things in a way that pacifies
Right.
versus
Right.
saying it in a way that edifies.
Mm.
It's a difference. And a lot of us are dealing with that even as adults. Adults can't even take criticism now on the job, out in the marketplace, out in the community, in relationships, because now they think you're mean.
Yeah. You picking at them.
Not picking
You
at you.
doing this.
I'm just telling you that when we were coming up, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, but um people spoke directly to you.
That's right.
They spoke directly to you and they told you about yourself, and then they kept it pushing. Now you was left with the decision to make.
That's right.
Now the kids ain't left with a decision to make. They get pacified. You know? Come on, that's my
Mm.
wife right here. Come on. Come on in the video. Okay. I get it. Yeah. Come on in the video. All right.
But
Yeah.
and that's where that's the separation right there though, LD. Being pacified and
Mhm.
edified.
That's right.
It's more of the pacifying going on now than ever. And that's why, like you just said, you got a lot of kids that's dealing with depression, and you trying to figure out how the fuck, how. I was a kid once, like, but is it that they anything that's happening now they giving a title to? Like, what's really going on? You know what I'm saying? Or what have I missed? Or what am I missing? Or
Well,
you have these questions that don't really come with an answer because they always it they're always going to be able to generate something else or something else.
well,
So I have to box you in. I have to box you in, and in order for me to keep you in this box, then when you come and say, "Well, I don't like this or like that," okay, this is what you're dealing with. Here's a pill. Take this once every morning, after breakfast, and you know what? That's what I'm gonna do for you. So now with this pill that I just gave you, I'm gonna keep you doped up and medicated, so you never have to really deal with the problem. So and if you don't deal with the problem, where does the problem go? When the pill wears off, here's the problem. What do you now? The parent take the kid back. That ain't strong enough. He need a higher dosage, or she need more. So what the fuck is going on? How, how do you begin to overcome or defeat something that you want to beat, but you result in whatever they giving you or whatever they're telling you?
well, because they playing the game. See, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and you know, people who lobby, people who lobby, they getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
They getting paid by these big companies, and these companies are
Mm-hmm.
paying them to now sell their drugs. Do
Right.
you see more than ever now? There's a drug for everything. There's
For
a prescription.
everything has a specific drug. Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
the goal is now let's come up with these uh let's come up with these labels now. Boom, boom. Let's diagnose, boom, boom, boom. And then we're gonna prescribe. But we're not gonna cure.
Yeah.
We're just gonna prescribe, prescribe, prescribe. That's it. But
That's
like you
right.
said, what happens, right? When now you want to come off. The problem still remains. Who wins? The company
Mm.
wins. The company wins
Mhm.
and you lose because you still have to live your life and you still have to deal with you still have to deal with what you haven't dealt with since you've been prescribed what you've been prescribed.
Mm, mm,
So who
mm.
wins? Just like if I'm on the football field and coach say, "Hey, go in the game, Davis." Now I have to go in and play my game based on the play call. That's my real estate that I got to cover. Nobody can play.
Right?
Nobody can cover that for me. I got to cover that real estate. Now, if they make a play in that real estate, that's on me. Now I got to figure
Yeah.
out how to get better the next time somebody enters into my real estate.
Right.
Well, what happens is this though. What they're doing with all these prescription drugs, they're saying, hey, we know that's your real estate to cover, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna send somebody else in, and they're gonna help you cover that real estate, right?
Okay.
Now they still might make the play in that real estate, but you got somebody now after that happens to now console you, hug you, make you feel better about yourself. When still
Mm,
that was still your responsibility for that real estate.
right.
So and that's what drugs do, man. They don't cure. They they so they curve the symptom, but it's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there. And it
It's still there.
hasn't went anywhere. Hasn't went it's taking up space. It's taking up space in your real estate to make you delusional enough to believe that you're okay when you're not okay.
Yes. That's right.
They're teaching you
And
they're teaching you not to do the work when you should be doing the work.
that's what it does. So that has been put in place to keep you right where I want you at. Because I got to continue to prescribe these drugs, and I need you to continue to take them. And every generation behind you, I need you to let them know that, hey, this is what helped Johnny. You know, Johnny was dealing with this and dealing with that, and I took him to the doctor, and this is what they had, and this is what helped him. So maybe you need to take Susan over there or Kimberly or whoever, and take them and get this. It, it's about when you break it down, it's about people in power staying in power. And what I can't do is strip you of your power over yourself by giving you these drugs and lying to you, and then turn around and give it back to you because now I lose my power. If you don't need the drugs, then I'm not of use.
There you go.
So even with what like we talking about, a person got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired before they become well.
No.
And the getting well part is going to be ultimately up to that individual. You have to want to be well. You have to want not to be depressed. You don't have to deal with anxiety because there's methods that you can take without taking drugs. You feel you don't have to be a manic depression or dealing with panic and anxiety. These are You make a choice to deal with these things once you allow them to succumb who you are. Find out your why. Why are you like this? Why is this happening to me? Why did it happen right now? What just happened to make that happen? So now you see what's triggering these things, and you create this. You have to be more solution driven. You cannot sit your ass still on a problem or wait for somebody else to tell you what you're dealing with. And in order for you to deal with this here and still be able to function, then you need to take this little white pill once a day, every day. Because if you don't, then this is what's gonna happen, and this is how you're gonna be feeling. No, you don't need that. That's not what's needed, but that's what has been presented, and it's a cheat code, so they say, but it's a shortcut to a train wreck.
Come on.
Because because now when you can't get these fucking pills, or you become addicted to these pills, and these pills now you went from dealing with anxiety and depression to fighting addiction.
Dependent.
You become dependent upon a prescribed drug.
They ain't did 1 ounce
And
of work.
You ain't did no work.
And that's why,
You ain't.
and that's why,
Come on.
and that's why, so you never hear doctors talking about the holistic route, because the holistic route takes, it's that's care. Doctors don't have time to care for you. They have time only to prescribe. That's it.
Mm,
The holistic route, now as a doctor, you have to care because it's going to take time to understand your client. Not looking at the charts, but to understand your client and to prescribe now holistic ways for them to win, not just today, but over time. Doctors don't want that.
okay.
That's too much time. So
Right.
they've teamed up because doctors get perks. They've teamed up with the pharmaceutical companies, and the pharmaceutical companies pay a lot of money to lobbyists to get their drugs passed like that. They paying the FDA like that. Boom, boom, boom. So I always tell people, man, you have to wake up and you have to really strip yourself of what has been taught to you and what you have seen and what you believe. And then you have to
Right.
begin as an infant and start relearning. Because if you don't relearn, you're going to get caught up in the cycle. What is the cycle? Profit. You're going to be sold and sold and sold and sold until you get to a point in your life, later on in life, you're going to be damaged goods. And they're going to throw your ass away and move on to the next. And they're going to prescribe to the next and to the next and to the next. But you have to care enough about yourself to sit down with yourself every day to understand thyself. I can't speak for everybody else, but in understanding thyself, it's a great power in there.
Okay.
Because you don't become a sucker to all the bullshit that's happening outside of you. You're your own entity. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But you're not scared to say no, or you're not scared to say yes. And you don't have to explain yourself why. Because that's for you and not them. And that's in knowing thyself. A lot of people lay down and they now become dependent. I'm not saying that in moments of our life we're not going to be dependent on something. But when you depend upon a drug, when you dependent upon an outside entity, now you set
Mm-hmm.
yourself up for destruction, calamity,
Mm,
collapse, depression.
mm.
But when you put in the work and you continue to build, now you set yourself up to endure. Endure what? The storm of all the bullshit from the outside that's going to try to weaken your entity. But over time, as you continue to return to the plow, and I always use that word plow because that symbolizes a consistent work, not a hard work, but a consistent work on yourself, doing the ABC things over and over and over. So when the elemental P comes, you still straight. And then you look at your friends or your coworkers, the people you went to school with, and you see them, and they done went through a lot of things, and you can look at them and you say, "Damn, man, you straight? What's going on?" But then in the back screen, when you get by yourself, you can be like, "Man, I'm glad I stuck to the ABCs."
Right. 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 I'm gonna stick to the basics.
And then you add to the
That's gonna.
basics daily, right? Add to the basics
That's right.
whenever you feel like you like. Sometimes when I go to the weight room, I don't do no weights. I do all agilities based on how my body feel, how I feel, how I'm
Okay.
moving, how my knees feel today, how my mind thinking today. Sometimes I might need to
Okay.
do more cardio or more drills or more agility drills or more jumping drills because of how I feel. Because what I don't want to be is some type of entity that can't move.
Okay.
You want to be able to move mentally, physically, and spiritually. You want to be able to be like a jackrabbit, be able to move, flexible.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take no tuning up to move. It's like from situations. If you see a situation treating you unfairly, you ain't tied to that shit. Move.
That's right.
Move.
That's right. That's
Somebody
right.
talking that fuck shit around you, move. Just slide out.
Right.
You know, you see ill will activity approaching, or you feel it, nigga, move. Move. You already sensed it coming. Move. When you hoard or
Mm-hmm.
have too much clutter, you can't sense this stuff. You clutter. So now when the shit happen, you right there when it happened.
right there in the midst. Cause you got too much going on. You cluttered.
You can't hear. You cluttered.
You missed all the signs. Yeah. 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 yeah, that's hey. And like you say, right, you have to be able to declutter, you know what I'm saying? Um, whatever you need to do to keep your life
Free.
free of bullshit.
Free.
You need to have be a free spirit, your mental capacity. You don't need to hold on to a lot of things that has happening and that's still happening. So you need to find a way or things that's gonna help you to purge or release the bullshit. Not saying that you're not gonna encounter bullshit on a daily, but daily you need to be releasing this shit as well.
Come on.
You don't carry that baggage with you, because what happens is what we're talking about now: anxiety, depression. You're overstimulated by bullshit, or you're understimulated, all type of different things. But your world, become so chaotic that you're only drawn to drama and chaos and gossip and things of that nature. Because that's what you have positioned yourself in the middle of. So that's what you done created this formula around yourself that this is what I can strive in. I can't strive in nothing but the bullshit. So I'm gonna attach myself to this because the people that's attached to this, we going through the same thing. You don't have to go through that. You don't have to be attached to that. But you got to. It starts here. What you have to win here first
Come on.
before the physical actions take place. Your mind, you got to be strong willed mentally to do something, to want more,
Mhm.
and that you might have to cut some people off.
That's the price of doing business, ain't it?
That's the price of doing business. You might have to separate yourself from a lot of people. You need to spend more time alone anyway. You know what I'm saying? If you like to read, you need to do more reading. You need to do more meditate. You need to do more. You need to go in prayer more often. Whatever you need to do. But do that and start working more on self in order to remove self from that dark space that self is in. Go find a lighted area. Get out in the sun more. Get out in society. Get out the house. Get your ass up. Get some kind of momentum. Have some type of motion going on. Don't sit there and wallow in that depression.
Come on. Come on.
Don't.
Come
Because
on.
if you do, then ultimately you also will have that same title. I'm depressed. And then you begin to tell yourself, man, I'm so depressed. Well, how the fuck you know you was that? Who told you that? Who told you that you were depressed? Because whoever told you that need to tell you you ain't depressed no more, and maybe that'll trigger you to do something. Oh, that's what I've been telling myself. Tell yourself something different. Let's try that. Let's try to reverse the role of saying I'm this and say, no, I'm not that. And I'm not going to be that. And get you some books about things that how people deal with this. So you don't ultimately get to a point where ain't no escaping out of this world that you have created over yourself. Because what you have just done is gave something not of you power over you. So ain't no win. So that is not gonna end well for you. For whatever you done gave power to is when you're gone, it'll go to somebody else. So again, we have to be spiritually in alignment with God because He's gonna give you everything you need to win. If you got to read, if you got to read scriptures, read your scripture every morning before you get your day started. Pray every morning before you get your day started. Give thanks for the good and the bad and the ugly. Be thankful for not just some things, but be thankful for all things because it's a lesson in all things that you got to go through.
Come on.
Because you may just have to be a vessel for somebody else that's getting ready to go through that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you through that because I know you ready. You prepared. You can deal with this shit. I know what you can do, but go ahead and go through that because I'm gonna send somebody behind you.
That's right.
That y'all gonna intercede with each other, and I'm gonna need for you to pull them through that because that's also my child.
That's right. Come on. Come on. And also throwing yourself into things like this, right? You know, conversating, conversing, getting around
Mm-hmm.
a good community who now allows you to now express, talk, let it go, let it out, or to become freer or like light or like paper or as water, right? Get around
Mm-hmm.
in these get around. Matter of fact, put yourself or throw yourself or go out and seek these communities. What happens, like you said earlier, is that you wallow in your mess and you stay
Mm-hmm.
there and
Mm-hmm.
you don't try to seek anything. But now watch this. You do they your insurance, they pay for a counselor for you or a psychiatrist or a therapist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they don't have the therapy session outside. They got the therapy session in the place you chill at every day, which is inside. I always tell people sometimes you got to change your environment. And if I was a therapist, I wouldn't have therapy sessions inside on the couch to where you motherfucking comfortable because you done got too motherfucking comfortable because your ass in here. So let's go for a walk and talk. If I'm a therapist, motherfucker, let's go to a place that you ain't been. Let's go to the gym. Let's go to the sauna. Let's go somewhere else besides inside a room.
On the couch.
On a
Yeah.
goddamn couch is where you sit at and spend most of your time and feel depressed. Feel depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's switch it up. Let's change it up because that's what a motherfucker really truly needs to start feeling better. You ever seen a lot of movies where a dude just or a woman just experienced a breakup? First thing they do is the friend come in and bust in the room and open up the shades. Bitch, let's get some light. And then not only let's get some light, let's get up. And let's move around. Let's go out to eat. Let's go to the comedy club. Let's go do something. And I always tell people that's where it starts. And this is how you beat depression. You have to make it up in your mind to do something. I don't know if you ever watched the 1v1s, right? But sometimes they might be down by 20 on YouTube. 1v1, they might be down by 20. And you hear all these people yelling like, man, you better fight. You better fight. You better fight. Or the game over. You're getting beat 20-3. And you've seen some guys battle back to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen guys battle back to get beat by one. But what they learn is to do what? Fight.
Keep fighting.
The odds are not in your favor right now, and it looks like you're going to get beat pretty bad. But what's happening that a lot of people don't understand is that they have to fight in order to gain some type of ground or to win any type of game or to even come close to winning. Because even if you lose that game, you learn to do what?
Right?
Fight,
Fight.
fight, fight,
Yeah.
fight. And I think a lot of people that experience depression, they give up their free will to fight.
Mm.
It's in the fight.
Mm.
It's in the fight.
It's all in the fight.
It's in the fight. That's why when you see two dogs out there fighting, you never get in the way of that dog fighting the other dog. Don't break that shit up. Let them fight. Because both dogs are two people, they learning something in that fight. When you're going through
Right.
obstacles and adversities and challenges, it ain't meant for you to give up in the fight. You say, God help me. Well, that's how God helping you. He giving you something to now, he giving you something right now to now live. And that's the fight.
Okay.
The fight helps you live. Adversities, obstacles, challenges, they help you live. Setbacks, they help you live because they help you now get off your ass. Mental couch, Spiritual count, physical. They help you get up and to go fight.
Okay. Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate this session, man, about depression, and ultimately, man,
Yeah.
that's the message for
Uh-huh.
anyone that's dealing with it, man. Continue to fight. Don't
Continue.
give up. Don't count yourself out. Continue to fight. Continue to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Fight
Do thy
mentally,
work.
physically, spiritually,
Do the work.
but do the work.
Do the
Got to
work.
do the work.
We need work. Do the work. Yes, sir.
All right, man.
And be
Great having
real.
you on, man. I'll get with you in a minute, man. Appreciate it.